I'm back at it again and ready to enlighten you on a subject that I've been dealing with for around 8 years of my life. But before I get to that, I want to thank you so much for all the views on my last video. I am up to 234 views on that video, and I didn't even think I was going to break 50. So I just really want to thank you so much for listening to me talk about that chapter in my life. And now I want to turn the page and get to a story that happened about 4 years before that trial came along. So when I was 12 years old, I was just a little 6th grader with sinus infections every time you turned around. And that was not the first time in 6th grade for me to have sinus infections all year. I've had them since I was little, and I've had to go to the doctor many times. And I know sinus infections, yeah, cool, Chalice, you get sinus infections, so do I. But for me, I've had troubles with different illnesses throughout my life, not just sinus infections. I've had like pneumonia and chickenpox and like the normal stuff, but I really didn't have an explanation as to why I kept getting sick all the time. And it was something that was overlooked throughout my life because we tend to listen to the common horse hooves when we should be listening to the beats of the rare zebras in the mix of all the normal people, horses. Make a connection. So 8 years ago, I had something called spinal meningitis. And this was my second round of my tussle with that devil of a disease. And it came back with a bite. And it was much worse than the first time. I actually ended up in a coma with this one. And the doctors did not think I was going to make it. Not a good thing for your parents to hear while your child is laying in a bed with a whole bunch of things hooked up to her. I had tubes coming out of my head because they were draining fluids off my brain because there's so much pressure on my brain, and monitors beeping and booping here and there, and IVs in my arm, and the doctors questioned and wondered, why is this all happening again? And I have suffered from, when I was littler, I had this thing called autoimmune hemolytic anemia, and basically my body was attacking my red blood cells. I think, yes, that's what it's called. I think that's what it is. Anyway, so I was like super sick. I had that twice, and it was like overlooked again that is something that comes along with what I have now. And so they finally checked my white cell counts, and sure enough, I had a very low amount of antibodies in my system. And so basically, I was lacking in the immune system department. And so I was like, oh, so that's why I'm getting sick all the time. Duh. Should have known. No, I didn't, because I'm not a doctor. Not blaming doctors out there, because that's not very nice. Anyways, I was diagnosed with CVID, and that stands for Common Variable Immune Deficiency. And what that translates to is I have a high susceptibility to infections, and I don't have protection to outside sickies on my own. So for 12 years of my life, I was on my own trying to protect myself with the very low amount of immune system that I had. So, how I got it, it's hard telling because they don't really know how to tell when you got it, how it happened to you. It could be genetics or it could be acquired over time, kind of like people who don't have allergies at the beginning of their life and then in their 20s they do have allergies. It's just kind of something like that. And I'm on this Facebook page where people in their 50s and older or whatever, they're just now getting diagnosed with this. And it's crazy because they didn't go through like the whole life-threatening diseases and stuff. They just had sinus infections, and so they probably were never exposed to the spinal meningitis thing, and or anything that could kill you. So it's crazy. And I know I was in elementary school with all these kids who probably got the vaccination and all this stuff, and I got vaccinations, but I ended up getting sick. Ding, ding, ding. Another thing. But we didn't know about that yet. So, like, now, you might be wondering why, like, if I get sick so easily, why do I go out in public? Why do I go to school? Why do I go to work where all these people are that I can get sick from? And my answer is I get an artificial one. So for like 6 years, I went to Riley Children's Hospital to get IVIG treatments that ran for about 4 to 5 hours. And that was like a bag of antibodies or immunoglobulin. I said it right for once. And it would go in through an IV in my arm, and they called it like my go-go juice or my liquid gold because it keeps me alive. And it was donated immunoglobulin, dang it, from people who are wonderful and want to donate their plasma to me, and they can get it out of the plasma, and it helps keep me healthy. I kind of sound like a vampire. I want your blood. Anyway, now, it doesn't make me invincible by any means, because I'm getting an immune system, and it's not like I am unstoppable with my immune system now, although I wouldn't need these treatments if I were a vampire, because they live forever, and I'm sorry, I am kind of obsessed with Vampire Diaries right now. Anyway, onward. And so now, after the 6 years happened, I turned 18, and I shouldn't really go to Riley anymore. They would have taken me anyway, but since I was 18, I was an adult. They don't really treat adults there. It's more for children. I was like, okay, I'm going to start doing subcutaneous. It's these little needles, very itty bitty little needles that I stick into my thighs, and I have 3 of them, so 3 different sites in my thighs, and, for the longest time, I was like, no, don't talk about it in front of me, I'm okay with this IV thing, I just got used to it, why are you talking about that, and they just wanted me to know that there's other options out there, but every time they brought it up in the doctor's office, I was like, okay, get me a bucket, I'm gonna throw up right here, and I did. It made me sick just thinking about it. But now I'm like, yeah, this is super convenient. I can just stick these needles in my fat, and I am good to go. And so these itty bitty little needles, they're like this big. I stick into my thighs, and then I put the medicine in this like syringe that's yay big, and I put it in a pump, and it's a spring-loaded pump, and I just gotta turn it on, and this little lever thing pushes the stuff into my legs over about a 2-hour period of time, and that may sound awful to you, and it did for me. Honestly, it did, and it scared me, but I was over people trying to get my veins, because they suck. My veins do, not the people, because there's many opinions on it, but somebody said that since I took steroids when I was younger to fight or combat whatever, the autoimmune hemolytic anemia and all the other things that were wrong with me, it made my veins smaller and harder to get, and they roll, and I'm sure some of you have that problem too, or you have really good veins, and I'm so happy for you, because it's probably easier to get your IVs or blood drawn or whatever you do. And so, but I hated needles. But now I'm like my own nurse. So after years of watching someone professional prep tubes and sanitize everything and alcohol swab my arm and try to get my daggone difficult veins, and poke me with it and get it to work, I get to do that all myself now. And I think that's awesome, because I get to do it myself, and I think it's cool. And I get to do it from the convenience of my own home. More time to watch Vampire Diaries. Anyway, so after my treatments are all said and done, and I'm freed from my needle chains, I can roam as I please. But I can roam anyway because these needles, I have the syringe, and it's got like a little trusty handle. And I also have a fanny pack that I can put the pump in and walk around. It doesn't feel really good to walk because they're in my thighs, but I used to put them in my belly right here, anywhere where you can find a little bit of fat to stick it in, and it's not that big of a deal. Some people even run on the treadmill with them in, and they're like, it kind of hurts. I'm like, well, yeah, because you're running on the treadmill. Don't do that while they're in. But they're just trying to live their lives as normal as possible, and that's totally understandable. But there are things I still cannot do with this disease, even though I am getting immunity from other people. I can't leave this country. Like, I'm bound here because of this disease, and it's annoying, but it's okay. I can't get vaccines, like I've said. Like, they will either make me sick, or it will just leave my body. So that means no passport for this girl whose dream is to go to Venice, Italy. And that's been my dream for a long time. And it was almost like I wanted my Make-A-Wish to be that. But I'm kind of glad it wasn't, because I couldn't go anyway. And I got this beautiful room for that anyway. And I get to enjoy it forever with my family and whoever wants to come down here. But, you know, I'll just plan a trip to Epcot. And really, it makes me want to see more of the country I live in. Like, I want to go to New York and LA and back to Florida again, because I love Florida and the ocean. But anyway, I can't get on planes anyways, even if I did want to get out of this country, because of the recycled air and all the nastiness that's floating around in it. And I don't even want to get on a plane because I have a terrible fear of heights and people. I'm not scared of people, yeah. And like when I was a cheerleader, I refused to fly. I did a couple times and they couldn't hold me because I would shake too much. And so I got out of that. So I was base. I was stronger than I am now. But, yeah. So, I can't get on planes. Can't get out of the country. But, if you have contact to Jack Sparrow and he can sail my way out of here, give me a call. But, next, I can't even get in lakes or rivers or fresh water of any kind, because there's so much bacteria in there and too many little critters that I don't want rubbing against my legs in the first place. And it's disgusting. Like, I don't even want to get in lakes because I think they're disgusting looking. And I like to fish, but I don't want to get in the lake with the fish. And so, it's kind of funny because the lake water or the river is basically like a pool of toxic waste for me. And because like if I fell in it, I'm like, well, you know, I'm dead, you know, because I have problems with my legs and they have like open sores on them sometimes. And if I fell into a lake or got any kind of fresh water on my legs, I would probably get an infection of some sort. And but I can get in the ocean. And I love the ocean. It's salty, and it's wonderful, and it has dolphins in it, and mermaids somewhere. I'm a mermaid, obviously. My hair is a mermaid hair, according to one of my nieces. So, I love the ocean, and I'm glad I can get in it. And, yeah. Also, I should not be around people who just got a vaccine. Now I'm not going to always know who did. And I can't do anything about that. I'm not going to stay home because of that and try to stay away from the sickness. But with the flu that's going around, and people are getting it, and they're getting it in my hometown, and they're getting it everywhere else, and some people are dying from it, and that terrifies me. Like, I'm so scared because I can get it so easily, but these people out there are getting it, and the flu vaccination obviously didn't work, and I'm just so sorry for those people who are suffering from that right now. And so every time I go to school and church and work where people are and they're coughing right next to me, I'm kind of like, okay, I probably need to go. Probably need to go home. Like at church Sunday, I had people all around me coughing, probably not covering their mouths like it mattered, but anyway, I made my poor little niece Bella upset because she just got a vaccination before she came over one day, and we were gonna paint pumpkins because it was before Halloween, and I had to wear a mask so she could come over, and because I didn't want her to miss out on that. I even volunteered on staying in the basement while they were up there painting and stuff, and just so she could have a good time with her cousins. And I just decided to put a mask on, and I painted a little kitty face on it so it wasn't so scary to my nieces and nephews. But she went and sat on the couch, and her mom went over there because she was all sad looking, and she goes, "GC doesn't want to be around me." And I go, "Bella, I love you. What are you talking about?" And I felt so bad, and because she thought I didn't want to be around her. And she knows I love her. But I was just trying to, protect myself, and I didn't mean to upset her. Anyway, so if you ever have a vaccination and you see me and it's been 24 hours, within the 24 hours, if you want to stay away from me a little bit, that'd be good. And I've had people who will be hanging all over me, and friends, and they'll later say, "Yeah, I just got my flu vaccination." I'm like, "Oh, great, thank you for hugging me all day." I'm gonna go shower and some hand sanitizer. But yeah, I can't do anything about it. I'm not gonna live my life scared because I'm worried that somebody has it. And for right now, I'm okay. But that's just what I live with. And that's really all I can think of that I'm limited from. It's kind of a big deal, but I don't care. I still can do the things I love to do. I love going to school. I love being with my friends. I love going to church. And that's basically all I need. All I need is my family and my friends, and I'm good. And yeah, but I do want to tell you that this disease, with CVID, we have a greater risk of getting this cancer called lymphoma. And that's what I had. Been there, beat that, but it's still scary. And when I was going to Riley for my treatments, my IVIG treatments, there's this bell in the hallway that I got to ring at the end of my cancer treatment, kind of like ringing in a new beginning after your treatment's over, like ringing in a new year, however you want to think of it. But that's what I got to do. And for like 4 years before I was diagnosed with cancer, I saw that bell every time I left. Because it was just in that hallway that I would walk through to get out. And every time I saw it, I'm like, I'm going to ring that someday. And it didn't scare me. It was like God saying, you will go through this trial, and I'm going to get you out of it. And I did. He got me through it, and I rang the bell. And that is just a part of my life that I flip the page to, can look back on it sometimes, and then go to the next chapter, because it was just part of my story, and something that he wants me to share, I believe. And I don't know, believe it or not, it didn't shock me when I got the news that I had cancer, because I think God put that comfort in my heart and let me know for a while that it was coming. And call me crazy, but that's what I believe. And so, yeah, that's really all I can think of right now that goes along with my CVID. And if you have any questions towards this topic, I would love to hear them and answer them to the best of my abilities. And I wouldn't know about this disease if I didn't have it. And it's really not put out there, even though it is common. I want to bring awareness to this disease because it is very overlooked in people who do have it and learn later in their life rather than sooner, and could actually take care of it and be responsible about it and get the treatments and stuff to help you. And yeah, so I just want to raise awareness, and I know this video is really long, and I'm sorry, but thank you if you watched it all the way through, and I will see you guys next time.